The Forgotten Wives of the Pandavas. Episode 1. Hidimba, the woman who changed the fate of the Pandavas. When we think of the wives of the Pandavas, one name immediately comes to mind: Draupadi. But Draupadi was not the only woman who played an important role in the lives of the Pandavas. There were other women, other heroines, and their stories are rarely told. In this series, I intend to tell you some of those stories. And today, we begin with Hidimba. Duryodhan and his uncle Shakuni had plotted to destroy the Pandavas. The Pandavas were sent to a beautiful palace that was built for them, a palace largely made of flammable materials, known as the House of Lac. One night, the house was set ablaze in the hope that the Pandavas would perish in the fire. But the Pandavas had been warned of the plot. They escaped through a secret tunnel, leaving the world to believe that they had died. Now, with their mother Kunti, they wandered through the forests, hiding their identities. They were exhausted, and eventually they stopped for a rest. Bhim remained awake, keeping watch over his mother and brothers as darkness settled over the forest. Not too far away lived a powerful rakshas named Hidimba. Hidimba was a cannibal, a man-eater feared throughout the region. And when he smelt the presence of humans, he was delighted. At last, he thought, there would be some human flesh for dinner. But rather than going himself, he sent his sister. Her name was Hidimba. He commanded her to find the strangers and bring them to him. When Hidimba entered the forest, she saw Bhim. And instead of looking at him as prey, something unexpected happened. She saw a man unlike anyone she had known. He was powerful, fearless, and completely unafraid. Hidimba fell in love with him there and then. And now she had a choice to make. She could either obey her brother, or she could save the man she had been sent to destroy. And she chose Bhim. She warned him about her brother. She told him that Hidimba was coming and that he intended to kill them. But Hidimba did much more than warn Bhim. She offered to carry Bhim, Kunti and the brothers away from the forest using her supernatural powers to take them to safety. Bhim refused. He had no intention of running away from Hidimba. Soon, Hidimba arrived. He was furious that his sister had not returned. He attacked Bhim, and what followed was a fierce battle in the forest. The two powerful warriors fought with such force that the forest itself seemed to tremble. At last, Bhim defeated Hidimba. Hidimba was slain. Hidimba then approached Kunti and the Pandavas and expressed her wish to marry Bhim. Kunti listened. Yudhishthir considered her request, and they both gave their consent. Bhim and Hidimba were married and lived together for a time. From their union came a son. His name was Ghatotkacha. The name is traditionally understood to refer to his smooth, bald head, rounded like a ghata, an earthen pot. But there was little that was ordinary about this child. Hidimba remained in the forest, brought up her son, while Bhim's journey with the Pandavas continued. When the time came for Bhim to leave, Ghatotkacha promised that he would come to the aid of the Pandavas whenever they needed him. And that promise would one day be remembered. Ghatotkacha grew into a mighty warrior, possessing the extraordinary powers of the Rakshasas. He could create illusions, change form, and assume different shapes at will. Years later, those powers would become crucial on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The great war of Kurukshetra had begun. Ghatotkacha joined the Pandavas as promised. And on the battlefield, he became a terrifying force, especially at night, when the powers of the Rakshasas were at their greatest. He moved through the battlefield using his supernatural abilities, appearing in different forms and creating illusions that confused the terrified Kaurav army. At one point, another powerful Rakshas named Alambush was sent against him. The two fought using weapons, strength and illusion. They changed forms and countered each other's magic. But eventually, Ghatotkacha defeated Alambush and killed him. Then he turned his attention to the Kaurav army and finally to Karna. Ghatotkacha's attack became so devastating that the Kaurav forces were thrown into chaos. Karna fought back with his celestial weapons, but Ghatotkacha continued to unleash one illusion after another. The battle became almost impossible to contain. There was, however, one weapon that Karna had been saving, a divine weapon given to him by Indra, the Vasava Shakti, and it could be used only once. Karna had been saving it and had intended to use it against Arjuna. But now, faced with Ghatotkacha's assault on the Kaurav army, he had to make a choice. He released the weapon. The powerful weapon struck Ghatotkacha, and the great Rakshas was mortally wounded. But even as he fell, he made one final move. Using his supernatural power, Ghatotkacha enlarged his body until he was enormous, and as he fell upon the Kaurav army, his gigantic body crushed vast numbers of soldiers beneath him. Ghatotkacha was dead. But the weapon Karna had intended for Arjuna was gone, and Krishna understood exactly what that meant. Hidimba's story does not occupy many pages in the Mahabharata, but in Himachal Pradesh, her story continues in another form. According to the oral traditions of the region, Hidimba remained in the Dhungri forest after Bhima left. There, it is believed that she undertook intense meditation and tapasya. And through her austerities, she attained the status of a Devi. And even today, Hidimba Devi is revered as the protector of the valley. In Manali, the temple dedicated to her stands among the forests of Dhungri, keeping alive a tradition that reaches far beyond the pages of the Mahabharata. Sometimes, the stories of Mahabharata continue long after the epic itself ends, in the forests, in the temples, in folklore. Next time, we meet another forgotten wife of the Pandavas, a princess from the mysterious world of the Nagas, Ulupi, the woman who one day would save Arjuna from death itself. Do let me know if you like Hidimba's story. Until next time.